The twists and turns in the English Premier League are just getting started. From Liverpool laying down an early marker, or should I say setting the pace, to perennial runners-up Arsenal taking the driver's seat, the EPL promises a riveting duel this season. And we have plenty of it lined up for you in this program, including the long-suffering Manchester United finally picking up a win and keeping an unlikely clean sheet. But what does that mean for under-fire tactician Ruben Amorim? In Germany, relentless Bayern München are showing no signs of taking their foot off the gas pedal. Steve Shitera will bring you all the detailed analysis and insights. Back home, it's been an eventful week. World 800 meters champion Lilian Odira scored 2 beautiful goals. Figuratively speaking, she earned a promotion at work and is now a sergeant at the Kenya Prison Service. And yes, President William Ruto's reward of $3 million for each gold medalist has finally come through for Migori's Golden Girl. We've got all the details, including a deep dive into Kenya's murky race to meet the World Anti-Doping Agency requirements. Will Kenya make the cut? We'll tell you more. I'm your host, Isaac Swila-Tijan, joined by my upbeat panelists, Jacob Isia, lawyer Japheth Munyendo, Dennis Okeyo, and of course, Steve Shitera. Welcome to Sporty Monday. And of course, that matter on doping forms our question of the day. And we are asking you today, what in your view should be done to eradicate doping? We want to hear your thoughts on this stormy subject. What do you think should be done to tame the doping menace? You can text us your thoughts, 22422. That's the SMS line. And of course, you're also on social media. You can X us at Citizen TV Kenya, at Isaac Swila, at ZTG Moi, at Jacob Isia. We will be sampling some of your thoughts. And of course, you can keep that conversation going via hashtag Sporty Monday. Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuria has assured that the country is making significant progress to avert a possible ban by the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA. His remarks come even as the World Anti-Doping Agency gave Kenya temporary reprieve, announcing it had postponed sanctions against the Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, ADAK, citing, quote-unquote, significant and demonstrable progress in addressing compliance concerns. Steve Shitera reports.
The World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, had on September 11th warned that ADAK was non-compliant with its global code following unresolved issues it had flagged in its audit in May 2024, giving the Kenya Anti-Doping Agency an October 2nd, 2025 deadline to either dispute the findings or submit a corrective plan. And ahead of the deadline, ADAK filed a detailed action plan committing to address the gaps within 4 months, which WADA has since acknowledged, citing the progress made and referring the matter to its Compliance Review Committee for further evaluation.
Over the last few weeks, we have had a lot of discussions with the World Anti-Doping Agency. They had raised 35 issues of non-compliance. And right now, Your Excellency, I want to assure you that 30 of them have been resolved. And now we await their decision and the direction.
Is going to dominate once again and take the headlines and gold. The world champion is Perez Jepchirchir.
The reprieve spares Kenya for now from sanctions that could have stripped the country of WADA funding, blocked access to key programs, and barred Kenya from hosting global sports events, including the 2029 World Athletics Championships, which Kenya had bid for.
It's a whopping 5 million Kenyan shillings.
President William Ruto has also pledged sweeping reforms to restore credibility in Kenya's anti-doping systems. Speaking on October 2nd at State House, when he hosted the heroic World Athletics Championship team that flew the country's flag high in the competition in Tokyo, Ruto said the government will do whatever it takes to clean up ADAK and rebuild global trust.
I also must commend the ministry for working with WADA. Kenya is a great sporting nation, and we do not want our sportsmen and women to be adulterated in any manner, for whatever reason, by anybody. And we will do whatever it takes. And my instructions, Waziri, is that we reorganize ADAC properly, inject professionalism, make sure you work with best practice, best international standards, so that we can continue sports in Kenya with the integrity that it deserves.
The president acknowledged that urgent reforms were long overdue, directing the sports ministry to spearhead a comprehensive restructuring. Kenya's Tokyo team returned last week after finishing second overall behind the United States, but the celebrations were overshadowed by doping concerns. Since 2017, more than 140 Kenyan athletes have been suspended. Funding challenges have also hampered ADAC's capacity. In 2024, its budget was cut from 288 million shillings to a measly 20 million shillings, raising hue and cry from stakeholders before being revised upwards to 185 million shillings, a figure experts say it is still shy of what is needed to meet compliance standards. Globally, only 3 agencies are currently listed as non-compliant by WADA: Russia, Sri Lanka, and the International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness. For Kenya, the race now is to ensure ADAC stays off that list and firmly in WADA's good books, even as Kenya scales her ambition of hosting the prestigious World Championships. Steve Shitera for Sporty Monday, Nairobi.
And of course, that comprehensive story by our very own Steve Shitera is forming our engagement. And we also want to hear your thoughts as the viewer. What do you think? What should the country do to root out this anti-doping, or rather doping menace? What should be done? We want to hear from you. 22422, that's the SMS line, hashtag Sporty Monday. We're also on Facebook, where we've posted this question. You can interact with it, as well as text us or X us at Isaac Swiller, at JCOBC, at Citizen TV Kenya. We will be sampling your thoughts, so keep them coming. And gentlemen, welcome to the program. But before we go, you can see these beautiful trophies. You know, we don't just talk sports or cover sports. We also play sports. And these are treble. Zita is away today, but RMSFC has won a treble. The big trophy, these are a football title, we have a volleyball title, and we have athletics title. So RMSFC actually swept the deck. So we'll tell you.
Swila, RMSFC played also volleyball?
Yeah. We have the football club, we have the volleyball team, and the athletics team.
He started with the football.
Yeah.
You know, he's been crediting RMSFC, and then it raised my...
Okay, RMS team.
Oh, okay.
RMS team.
Congratulations.
Team.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so we don't just cover the sports. We also, when away from here, we put our good gear into action. You see, he has very good shot. Shitera, very good reflexes between the sticks, and so on and so forth. And anyway, let's get going. Let me start with Wakili.
Yes.
Wakili, a comprehensive story there by Steve.
Yes.
And the doping monster actually still staring at us. Literally, we are racing against time. You've heard what the president said, what Waziri said. Yes. Actually, the deadline has passed. But WADA said some progress has been made. Let's see what comes out of it. They've referred this matter to their committee to review it further. Yes. What are your thoughts so far?
Now, I think there's some sort of misunderstanding of the whole concept of what is happening. You see, and that's why perhaps even the question, which is being relayed to the public or the viewers, is whether we shall eradicate this doping monster. The issue is not necessarily that the country, our athletes or sports persons are doping excellently. No. The issue is compliance to certain doping requirements, anti-doping requirements. And this is more on legislation. What happened? There is continuous progress on certain aspects that are meant to curb the doping menace. And therefore, the world body comes up with, again, certain requisites that signatories to the code are supposed to comply to. And therefore, again, there are audits. There was an audit which was caused sometimes in last year, in May 2024. And after the audit, the National Anti-Doping Body in Kenya, amongst all the other signatories, was deemed not to have been compliant. And one of the things, or one of the aspects that the National Anti-Doping Body of Kenya had not complied to was review of rules and regulations. I'll take you back to 2016. In the wake of Rio Olympics, we were almost being locked out. Reason, we had not legislated or promulgated an anti-doping act. So therefore, Parliament was forced to enact this last minute, and then we were therefore allowed. Because any country or participant who was featuring who was a member of the Olympics and had not legislated the Anti-Doping Act then was locked out. Now, certain acts have taken place. We have built jurisprudence on anti-doping, and therefore there has been a call for Kenya to review the rules and regulations, but Kenya has not done. So therefore, after the review, the world body has given us some time to make or to amend some of the things we have not complied. It's not because that there's a serious doping problem. And by the way, doping is not only restricted to athletics. The ADAC does not deal with athletics only. If you go to a football match,
just hold that thought. And of course, today we have a special segment coming up in the second hour. And of course, Steve Shitera will be talking to none other than a special cadre of cyclists who are already in the building. Those pictures are live at the RMS headquarters. You don't want to miss that. Of course, Steve Shitera will be engaging those cyclists shortly. So we have a rich program lined up for you. So stay tuned as Shitera engages the cyclists. Wakili, I can come back to you.
Yes.
Your final thought on that?
You know, there's something which has been mentioned, that the funding of ADAC is not is supposed to have been increased. You know, in the last financial year, there were some austerity measures the government took to curb on funding, and part of reducing the budgetary allocation, the other option was the merging of certain institutions, government institutions or parastatals. And therefore, you find that not only ADAC was, ADAC's budgetary allocation was cut. Even the Kenya Academy of Sports, which does a lot of work and does not speak about, they did not have a full funding for the whole year. And ADAC, and maybe Dennis will wade in, he knows the politics. You remember even when their budget was cut, their CEO, the CEO, she came out guns blazing, held a press release. Today she's...
and 2 weeks later,
she was gone. And basically, Dennis, just taking that, I think we seem to get it wrong as a nation, and as he's rightfully pointed out,
yes,
when we have men and women in office, and they question some of these policy decisions which do not make sense. In this case, she rightfully raised the alarm, but the next day she was shown the door. And right now, this monster is here with us. That's not really a solution.
I think she went against some of the board members, and the board members were not happy with what she said in that press conference, and immediately she was kicked out. She was kicked out, and Penina came in as acting, and she's still acting, going to almost a year now. Yeah, and you see those are some of the problems that we're facing with the WADA. WADA probably they want things aligned in Kenya, and that's not happening. Probably it's taking long, to be enacted. But something that Kenyans should really know, that when we talk about WADA sanction, this was going to apply across all the sporting disciplines in the country. That means that Kenya will not be allowed to participate in any international event or host any international event. So this is something that's very serious, and the president talked about it. And
probably, give it perspective. You know, when we talk about doping in this country,
yes,
people only think of our runners and our athletes. They forget doping is wide. It cuts across all sports genre.
Actually, doping, ADAC relayed these services to all the sporting disciplines in Kenya, be it golf, cycling, rally,
even kabaddi.
Even kabaddi. Actually, I was seeing some research that one of the areas where the doping is really rampant is actually safari rally,
yes,
because the driver need to be alert throughout, and people don't talk about this. Only people when you mention sports, doping in sports is purely athletics. We should not be like that.
Yeah.
People need to. I think it's something ADAC need to come out and tell or educate the public. Their role, exact role, is not only restricted to athletics. Yes.
Yeah, can I wade in just for a second? Yes, because it touches on an aspect where I've practiced on matters. Today, as of late, as of today, by the way, we can't really condemn government. They've also tried to
the government is doing a lot.
They have really tried. It's only that sometimes we are like a day scholar attitude. Today, before you receive any funding, today, before a sports organization is fully registered, it is mandatory for you to include or to promulgate a clause that you recognize the presence of ADAC in Kenya and that you subscribe to all the rules and regulations that fight anti-doping. And now, I've seen, he said ADAC really needs to do something. I've seen perpetual, untimely gatherings where ADAC informs this sporting organization about what they do, and they sometimes even do seminars and they do teach about what their role is. Now, you know, again, there's a lot of bias to athletics. People think doping is about athletics. I'll tell you, I know of some swimmers who have been banned.
Cyclists
who have been banned, boxing, even footballers. Even there's a footballer who took some medicine which treats the horse.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Isia, you've been waiting patiently, but I want you to bring this perspective, the aspect of testing. This is what WADA is not very, very happy with, and it has been a major question here. We do not have enough funds. How do we go about testing these athletes? And here, athletes means sportsmen and women. It's not the track runners. Now, you've also seen there has been a spirited campaign, rightfully or wrongfully, against our athletes. Whenever they shatter world records or championship records, questions are raised. Did he or she win clean?
So thank you. Allow me to just reflect on something they mentioned before I answer your question proper. The reason Kenyans always talk about doping and athletics is simple. It is our premier sport. And you look at also as doping as an industry, a global industry, anti-doping and doping, and you find that something is happening, and this one is not a very popular view, is happening when it comes to athletics and to some of the African countries. And sometimes you feel we are between a rock and a hard place. Why? Because if some of the things we see happening within athletics was to happen so seriously in other sports, like football, even in Europe, then the football industry, for example, in the EPL or maybe La Liga, would be something different. That is a different conversation altogether. But we have to agree that this is the sport that we do best, and therefore when it is touched all the time, then we are left, with a egg on our face. But let me answer the question about testing. You see, we have talked, we have gone for seminars, we have been educated by ADAC, and I give it to them. But I have a question, Swila, that if you are given a body to lead with all the challenges of funding and everything, if somebody can count 1, 2, 3, 35 issues that you have not addressed, there must be a problem with you.
Definitely.
There must be a problem, because the structure, I would expect 10 issues. Then it means even if it's not something that is within your hands entirely, the way you inform other authorities and other stakeholders who are involved in the whole matter, there are gaps somewhere, so that we find fewer issues next time. But Now, you see, the danger is that we are reaching a point where Kenya, athletes, when they go to run, they don't feel confident. Somebody was telling me that one of the athletes who won the Tokyo World Championships is afraid because of associating their victory, I have to hide the gender here, with this idea of, was it a clean running? You understand? And that's why Sebastian Sawe the other day was saying, he was telling
as many times
as possible. So basically, this to say that maybe the remedy would be this. Let the reorganization that we had the president talk about, because he hinted something, happen at the ADAC. Let the funding be there. But also, let us have periodic briefings of what is happening, the issues that are being addressed, where we are going, because we keep silent until something major happens. And now we were almost joining Sri Lanka, and as Shitara reported, and Russia, which really would be a bad thing. And finally, as I finish, I would say this, Willa, let us not think it's all about money. When you think about a country like Russia, which was banned, you will know that for them, it will not have been about money. It's something else. They were saying states, sponsored some things. And therefore, we must vacate the idea that it's not about money. There are many things we have to put our house in order so that we don't find ourselves in this menace.
And of course, that's comprehensively thought. Steve, I'm bringing you here, but I want us to shift gears.